Friends, today we're talking about the 28th gift, and we're talking about gossip. Gossip is a fundamental prohibition in the Torah, and we'll start with a story. The story is telling us about a merchant that came to a city, and he came to sell a potion. And he's declaring who wants to have eternal life. And obviously in City Square, gathering, the whole city is coming, and they're gathering within the city, and they're coming and they're banging on his door, and they're saying, we want to live eternally. Where is the cure? Where is the potion? Where is the gift? The old man opens his box, takes out a book, the book of Psalms, and he reads the eternal words of David the king. Who is one that wants to live forever? Is a person that safeguards his tongue from speaking evil. Remove yourself from evil and strive towards good. The words of David the king. This story is related in the Gemara and the Midrash, and they identify the merchant by the name of Rabbi Alexandri. And the person that stood online to get this wonderful potion was a rabbi by the name of Rabbi Yanai. And he made a very interesting observation. He says, my whole life I read the words of David the king. Go, my sons, hear the words of God. Who wants eternal life? Remove yourself from evil. I read these words, but I never understood them until this merchant came and explained it to me. What did Rabbi Yanai see in that merchant by the name of Rabbi Alexandri? We'll get to the answer soon. But first, let's develop this issue of gossip. We understand that leprosy, which means it's a disease on the skin. First, we encounter it in this week's portion. Later on, we encounter it by Miriam. Miriam, the sister of Moses, she gets leprosy. She's moved out of the camp. She's segregated there for 7 days. Everybody's waiting for her. And the reason why she got leprosy is because she spoke ill of her brother Moses. She said about him that he took another wife, etc., etc. But the sages identify leprosy with speaking ill about someone, about gossip, about an evil tongue. And we understand fundamentally how this spirit or speaking influences the matter, the body. And if we take it even scientifically, we understand something very interesting. I'm always puzzled by the fact that a person can say something bad about someone thousands of miles away, and that travels through the grapevine. And the person hears about it. His heart starts to rise. He starts to sweat. Everybody's looking at him and thinking about him. He's already thinking what other people are thinking. He physically gets ill. He gets an anxiety attack. And that affects his body. His temperature rises. He falls to his bed. It's a phenomenon. It's amazing. Think about it. 2 words that a person can say 7,000 miles away can travel across the globe, reach your house, and put you in your bed, sometimes for weeks. And sometimes people can get depressed and commit suicide because of that. We heard many stories in the social media, in Facebook, about people saying things about someone else and they commit suicide because of that. Spirit affects matter. In Judaism, if he spoke ill, that person that spoke ill gets leprosy. Spirit affects matter. And we understand it also in our world. When a person gets depressed, what takes him out of depression? The fact that he can acquire things. He goes and buys, he goes and shops. He feels a void, and that void he feels with shopping, and then he gets even more depressed. And when he feels more depressed, it's an endless cycle. He feels lonely. When he feels lonely, he gets ill, etc., etc. Mind over matter. Spirit affects matter. So what does Judaism do with all that? How do we avoid that? How do we stop this gossip from going from house to house? There's another problem with gossip. Gossip is not outlawed. It's not considered as murder or as theft. I never saw an individual anywhere or any government that says, you know, but you're going to go to prison for spreading rumors. Yes, you can get compensated. Yes, there's a monetary value to it today in the law in Israel and other places. But no one relates to gossip as they relate to murder. Look at all the magazines. They can say whatever they want about anybody. If it's factual, if it's right, and they don't lie, it's not considered anything. Look at all the celebrity magazines. But that's also gossip. That individual does not want you to speak ill of how much weight he gained or who is he marrying. That's none of our business. That's speaking ill about someone. How do we avoid that? So first we have to consider it as something that is immoral, something that is illegal. And the Torah comes and identifies that as something that is immoral and is outlawed in the Torah. And that's the greatest gift of this week. Considering it as something that is on the same level as murder, on the same level as theft. You should not go gossip in your nation. That's what the Torah tells us. You should not hate your brother in your heart. You should rebuke your brother, but in a certain way. And you should not take revenge. And there's many other verses in the scroll, in the 5 books of Moses, and in the whole Bible that is talking about not speaking ill about someone. What's the method of the Torah? Not leaving it up to society or to government. It takes the individual and it tells him, you're responsible. It starts from you, from your house. And how does he do that? The Torah comes and tells you, you're going to get leprosy. You're going to move out of the camp. You're going to understand what it means to be lonely for 7 days. And you're going to understand something even more fundamental. That the way to fix gossip is to start at home. Start with yourself. Because the individual is a creature of society. And with words we can bring society closer and we can kill society altogether. But in order to fix society, you need to fix yourself first. And therefore, we understand what Rabbi Yanai was so excited about. What he understood that he didn't understand beforehand. Remember that Rabbi Yanai, Rabbi Alexandri? The verse says, my sons, you shall go. And you should hear God. And then David the king says, who is the individual that wants to have eternal life? They start with the plural and they move to the individual. And that's what Rabbi Yanai understood from that merchant, Rabbi Alexandri. The fix, the measurement of trying to repair this concept of gossip cannot fall on society. It falls on the individual. Who is the person that wants eternal life? You start to fix the gossip around you. And only in loneliness, only in being secluded and on your own can you start to think. As Rabbi Soloveitchik says, the individual is a society creature, but he's also a lonely man of faith. And these two parts come within one individual. Sometimes you have to go out to society, but sometimes you have to seclude yourself. And that's what David the king also says in Psalms, in the 1st chapter. Blessed be the person that does not walk in the path of the unrighteous. And blessed is the person that does not sit in a place that are people that are speaking gossip and ill. You have to know when to withdraw yourself. You have to know when to walk back. You're sitting in a classroom, you're sitting at work, anywhere, and people are starting to speak ill about someone else. That's not your place. Walk away. They'll call you a loner. They'll call you a lot of names. but the moral and the ethical being in you is going to be heightened. So therefore, that's the gift today, my friends. And today, gossip, we can't really face it because gossip is everywhere. There's not a house that does not gossip. There's not a social media that brings us forward, the papers, the news, the radio. But it's our responsibility to walk away when something doesn't seem right. And if we do that, and it's a big challenge, we know, and it's a big gift that Judaism gives the humanity, the possibility to understand that fighting gossip starts with me. And as the sages ended and said, life and death all depends upon your tongue. You can make this world live, you can make this world die with a single word that's told 7,000 miles from here. Let's all safe or keep guard on our tongue.